officials, that thou would give them wisdom, knowledge, and courage to act in the best interests of the citizens of High Spring. We thank you for our community. Thank you for all of its citizens. And we ask you, Heavenly Father, to help us to realize that we need each other. We come tonight with a new person being elected to this commission. We pray that thou will be with her in a special way as she learns the difficult task that is before her. We thank you for all that thou hast done and is doing for us individually and collectively. And we ask thee, Heavenly Father, to give all of us a closer relationship with our Heavenly Father, that our relationship with each other will be significantly enhanced. We thank you for the holiday season, and help all of us to remember that you are in complete control of our individual lives. Whatever we face, God, give us the strength to look to thee for resolve. And we will give your name the praise and the glory. For this we ask, for this we pray, for the glory of God. And all of the peoples of God said amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Hickman. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Williams.
Present.
Vice Mayor Weller.
Present.
Commissioner Barnes is absent. Commissioner Gestrin.
Present.
Commissioner Jameson.
Here. All right, thank you. At this time, we entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to amend the agenda, request amendment to the agenda to allow, I understand Mr. Hal Brady from Alachua Recreation Department is here and would like to make a short presentation. I would like to suggest that we put that in before the presentation on the Click It or Ticket program.
Okay, you want it before or after?
Well, we'll put it before so that he can do what he has to do and go back to Alachua and his recreation program.
Yes. Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay. At this time, I entertain a motion for the approval for the minutes of August the 28th, September the 11th, and 22nd, 2014.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes August 28th, September 11th, and September 22nd, 2014.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor, come by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion carries 3-1. All right. So at this time, I, the mayor of High Springs, adjourn this 2013-2014 City Commission at this time. All right, Mr. City Manager.
What? Oh, the plaque, I'm sorry. Okay. As we do with all our mayors that have been in, but I know Byron and I really have tried to start the economic development here. We've taken trips. We've gone to many meetings, and it really is a Herculean event to get this thing moving, because for the last 20 years, we have kept it away. And because of that, we have lost jobs, lost opportunities, and really has been a great in doing that. Spent a lot of time, a lot of travel, gone to a lot of meetings. In fact, we were just at a meeting yesterday. And so on behalf of the city, myself, thank you very much. And it has been a pleasure.
It's looking good.
I'll actually give you that.
Have words at this time? Can I have words at this time?
Yes.
Thank you. First, I just want to say thank you to the city manager, to the staff, the commissioners for a great year. I'm going to call it a good year. You know, we had our hurdles, but we had a good year. And not only do I want to thank the staff and the commissioners, I want to thank the citizens of High Springs, because High Springs wouldn't be what it is today. So give yourself a hand, the citizens of High Springs. And I just want to say, I just pray and hope that we have a wonderful year this next year. Again, thank you all. God bless High Springs and you also. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call Commissioner-elect Jason Evans to take the oath of office. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, solemnly swear or affirm
I, Jason Patrick Evans, do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, honor, protect, and defend
that I will support, honor, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida,
and that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
that I am duly qualified to hold the office under the Constitution of the state and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Now I'll call Commissioner-elect Gloria James to oath. You'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I, Gloria James, do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, honor, protect, and defend
that I will support, honor, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Thank you.
As city manager, I call to order the 2014-2015 City Commission. The city clerk will take roll call.
Commissioner Jason Evans.
Here.
Commissioner Gloria James.
Here.
Commissioner Scott Jameson.
Here.
Commissioner Sue Weller.
Here.
Commissioner Byron Williams.
Here.
Yeah, I'll entertain comments from the new commissioners. Would you like to go first?
I don't really have a long, drawn-out set of comments to make, but I really would simply like to say thank you to the citizens of High Springs, to all of you who had faith in me enough to give me the opportunity to sit in this chair and work for you as citizens of High Springs. While I am here, I will give you my best. I will do whatever I can as long as it is beneficial to the citizens of High Springs. Thank you.
Now, I'm not going to be real long and drawn out either, but first I'd just like to say that I think this is an honor to be here, even though I didn't have to run like my counterpart up here. It's still a big honor. I was born and raised here in High Springs. It's also an honor to follow in my dad's footsteps. A couple of people have said this is the first father and son that have ever served on the city commission or not together, but served on the city commission. I don't know if that's true or not, but either way, if I can serve and still be as well thought of as he is, I think I'll do a good job. I'd also like to thank the people that did offer their support in my candidacy, even though it ended up not being needed. This is my first time into politics. I'm sure I'm going to have a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm a pretty quick learner. I'm also to the point. I'm not going to waste a lot of time, and if you do not want to know my opinion, honestly, don't ask the question. Lastly, I'd just like to go ahead and congratulate Commissioner James for her win. I'd also like to say that I think we've got a good group of commissioners. I really look forward to working with them. I think we can get a lot done, and while I'm sure we're going to disagree, I think we can do it in a respectful manner that allows us to get our jobs done. Right. And also look forward to working with the staff of the City of High Springs. And thank you all again so much for allowing me to do this.
I would like to now accept the nominations for mayor.
What the heck, I'll do it.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate Miss Weller to be mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ma'am, if you will assume your chair.
Okay.
I know.
Better wait until after we went through the other piece of this. Thank you.
That's why we moved you down.
You don't want my coal? I don't know why.
Well, I'd like to now accept nominations for the vice mayor.
I'll make a motion for Commissioner Jameson.
Second.
You have a first?
Yeah, first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Sir, you can remain where you're at.
I'm moving.
You're moving?
He's going to make you get up now?
You tired of being on the end?
I was in exile for a whole 2 years.
Well, you were. We talk too much.
Yep, I'm too have to move
I'm
down.
not going to have to make early exits.
Oh, yes, by seniority. Gloria,
All right.
you don't have to scoot down one.
Stay here.
All right.
What are you doing?
Where do you want to start at?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was seniority-wise.
James, I thought it said seniority.
We'll figure it out later. We'll figure it out. I think it was seniority.
Nah, it's by seniority.
It's seniority, isn't it?
It's by seniority.
It got confusing that way. We made a decision one time to just go alphabetical.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, thank you all for being here, and thank you for your confidence in my being mayor. And I'm sure that Mr. Jameson will fill in when I decide I'm not going to be here.
You better be here.
All right, I'm sure we all want to get on with the business here. We've got a large agenda tonight. But before we do, I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up here tonight and for supporting our new commissioners, Commissioner James and Commissioner Evans. Thank you. The very first thing we had on the amended agenda was for Mr. Hal Brady to make a presentation to the commission. Mr. Brady?
Robert. Mayor and commissioners, city manager, I wanted to tell you that High Springs and Alachua has been really a great relationship many years before I came. And I certainly want to tell you that all these tournaments that are coming in every year has been a great thing. And I want to tell you some great news I just heard this afternoon, that Robert, which is the recreation director here in High Springs, has been nominated to go on to the Southeast Regional Board with the Southeast Regional Tournament, which will be for the very first time be in High Springs and Alachua. They will be playing games in High Springs and Alachua. And the tournament director will be Damon, which of course Damon was here as a recreation director. And I certainly, that is a great honor, and they respect him as well as Damon. So that's a great thing, and hoping to see some encouragement that will come into High Springs, because you got some fantastic restaurants up here. Camp Kalakwa, I can name all types of things, and it's some great things. I also want to tell you that at this World Series, and it was the first time they had two World Series simultaneously, baseball and softball in the entire country. Never been done before, and probably will never be done again, because it's very, very difficult to do. The volunteers from both cities were just unbelievably outstanding, and it was incredible. I'm going to introduce a gentleman, and again, some people that were involved got high marks, and they rate these World Series. And one of the things of the high marks is certainly your fire department and rescue unit. The best in the country on doing what we did and having these two World Series. They were respectable, they were kind, and everybody, wherever they were from, whether they were from North Dakota, which I'm so glad I'm not from, or New Hampshire, or New York, there was a lot of teams that came in and just didn't have enough money, and we helped them out with a lot of people from High Springs and Alachua, and I really wanted that. So I'm going to introduce now the head of this double World Series, David Hanson. David?
Thank you, Hal.
Mr. Hanson.
Mayor, commissioners, thank you. City manager. It was a great event this year. We had 34 teams in town, with their followers. It was, over 400, almost 450 rooms that we occupied during the course of the tournament through all the different hotels that we utilized. So Alachua County benefited a lot as well. It was amazing to try and put that many people in town, especially on a graduation weekend for the University of Florida. So it was, but this, I think all cities surrounding Gainesville and Alachua and High Springs, saw the benefits of our tournaments and the efforts that were made. We couldn't have done it without the city of High Springs and their support for what the fire and rescue people did as far as servicing the teams, with heat problems, with other injury problems. They were on the spot in lickety split. I mean, they worked round the clock to provide a great service for that World Series and for the teams that were playing there. So it's now done, right? Yeah. Okay. So at this time, I would like to have Bruce come up here. He's been working hard tonight, I've seen, but want to thank you and the City of High Springs, the Fire and Rescue Department, for supporting us during the World Series in 2014. Everybody give him a great hand.
Don't run from the camera here. You were great. Thank you. Thank you. Run from the camera.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making that presentation. We
Sure.
certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Before we get on to our next presentation, I do want to take a moment Commissioner Barnes is not here, and I don't know if Commissioner Gestern is still here. She is here. Okay. I want to thank them both for serving the citizens of High Springs. We all know that they worked very hard at doing their best to represent the citizens, and I believe all of the citizens of High Springs should give them a very warm thank you. Thank you. All right, we have a presentation by our police department. On the Click It or Ticket program.
Yes, ma'am. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm Officer James Jacobson. I'm with the High Springs Police Department. I've been there about 3 years, and I'm in charge of the traffic safety unit. As you know, last year we did Click It or Ticket. We came in second place. It's not about getting the places or the numbers. It's about safety. I'm just going to read you a little bit of what I wrote. I want to inform the citizens of High Springs that November 17th through the 30th is Click It or Ticket, which will start statewide. All law enforcement agencies in the state of Florida will be enforcing seatbelts, speeding, child restraints, and other violations. We are encouraging citizens to wear their seatbelts and to slow down while driving. Alachua County is up 4 fatalities from 2013, and the High Springs Police Department, along with all other law enforcement agencies in the state of Florida, are trying to reduce the fatality rates. More than 2.2 million adult drivers and passengers were treated in emergency rooms as a result of being injured in a motor vehicle crash in 2013. Adult and child seatbelt use is the most effective way to save lives and to reduce injuries and crashes. Please wear your seatbelts, slow down, and have a safe holiday. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. If you'll remember, last year we, I think, came in second in our category and received like $12,000 worth of equipment for that from that program. So hopefully we'll do just as well, if not better, this year. That'll be great. All right. Next is unfinished business. Consider ordinance 2014-07. Mr. Attorney.
Madam Mayor, this is ordinance 2014-07, an ordinance amending the adopted 2013-2014 fiscal year budget of the City of High Springs and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance 2014-07 as read by title only.
This is the second reading of the ordinance. It was read and adopted on first reading on October 23rd. I will now open the meeting for public comments on this item. If you wish to comment, please come forward and keep your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anybody who would like to come forward and talk on this item?
Thomas DePeter. I have a question for 3 numbers. I assume somebody has the budget with them and probably can find these numbers fairly quickly. We have the total ad valorem tax revenue for the year.
Our finance director should be able to answer those questions.
Yes.
Actually, you go to the third page of what was published. You have two different lines, ad valorem and ad valorem delinquent. The total of those two is what was collected.
What is that amount?
$809.
And the total police department budget for operations and personnel from the police department
For operations,
and personnel for the total police department. And then I assume there's a separate one for dispatch.
correct. Total police. For operations, the total actual budget was $950,593,000.
950 what?
$950,593.
Okay, and the dispatch total budget?
Dispatch total was $276,822.
That's about 1.1 million, or almost 1.2 million. Right. So just our police department and dispatch essentially uses our ad valorem tax revenue. So it's an expensive thing, but I know it's a safety thing, but just when everything else the city does is paid some other way, pretty much. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Because I find it, Paul Regensdorf, just because I find it a tradition to prove my ignorance, all you're doing tonight is approving the reconciliation or the correction, if you will, of the year-end budget. Correct?
That's correct.
From last year, not because the point that Mr. DePeter just made is a critically important one as we move forward, and I hope that this commission can take that up as soon as possible. But thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing. Discussion and consideration will now take place in passing this in ordinance 2014-07. Is there any discussion by the commission? If not, I'll entertain a motion to pass the ordinance.
I'll make a motion, we pass ordinance 2014-07 on second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jameson, seconded by Commissioner Williams, to approve ordinance 2014-07 as read into the record. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 All opposed indicate by saying, I'm sorry. Oh, your 3 minutes are up. Roll call. Sorry. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jameson.
Yes.
Mayor Weller.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, next is the update on Plantation Oaks tax abatement. Mr. Attorney?
Madam Mayor, there is a letter that's in your packet. It's dated October 13, 2014, from the Property Appraiser's Office, Valentine Bates, who is the counsel for the Alachua County Property Appraiser's Office. And the letter relates to some figures up top that his office put together, but the note on the property states this. This property was purchased in December 2010, began business in 2011, and made application on February 9th, 2012. Purchase in the beginning of the business occurred before the ordinance enactment. Therefore, it appears that it does not qualify for the exemption. And so that was the gist of the memo from the tax appraiser's office. There is also a memo in your file in a cover letter from Courtney Johnson, which relates that the our city attorney's office has looked into this situation. As I reported, I think it was either last meeting or a meeting before that, we've looked at it, and there's a number of problems associated with the granting of a tax abatement for this business, in that the business was purchased and then the exemption was applied for, so it doesn't, and it has to be vice versa. Under the statute, the application has to be in before the property is purchased, if you want to go under one category. There's another category that an applicant can seek, which is if they're expanding their business And under that category, you have to have a certain number of employees. It's in the statute. I believe it's 20 employees is the requirement. The application does not apply for the sufficient, doesn't indicate they're going to have new full-time employees that meets the requisites of the statute. So and I don't know enough information about the application to determine where that application came in relation to the actual business expansion. So there's problems with the application at the outset. I think that's maybe the best way for me to describe it. If we're in a situation like this again, my suggestion would be that the city attorney's office be at the front end. The statute's a very complicated and complex process to get through, number one. Number two, I think if this commission is desirous of attracting business under this section of the statute, and that's what your economic development procedures that our city manager talked about at the swearing-in ceremony, a lot of what you do have a collective interest in that, then I think we should be involved, or a city attorney's office should try to be involved on the front end so that the application at least meets the requisite of the statute. So what I would like at this stage, having said all that, is that this application is in a lot of jeopardy. It's a lot of problems associated with it. And if you want me to, or our office to do further work on that, then I think we need some direction from you all. I don't know enough about the facts. We would need to study the facts to find out, can we amend the application in relation to whether or not this application was before the business expansion. I believe it was, knowing when things were happening as far as setback requirements and thinking about that in relation to when this application occurred. I think the application was in before the actual business expansion. So that would be one thing for us to lock down factually. Secondly, can the application, if it's deficient on its face, be amended so it can be applied retroactively to meet the requisites? And then I think the third process, if you so choose us to do this work, and that would be interfacing with the Plantation Oaks facility, would be to then work with the property appraiser's office and say, hey, we don't meet requisite number one, clearly. Can we fit within number two with an amended application? And they filled it out wrong. Can we fix this? And the other factor is if they haven't employed the sufficient employees to meet the requisites of the statute, it's basically dead in the water. So I think there's some factual work that would need to be done here, and then make a determination, can we retroactively fix this application? But there are a number of problems with this application, the way it sits, Madam Mayor.
Commissioners? Commissioner Evans?
When they made the expansion, did they file a second application, or are we just trying to make the first application work in the second?
My understanding is there was only one application filed, and what we don't know from the application is whether this was specifically for the business expansion, or was it trying to shift a square peg in a round hole for the original purchase. I don't know factually where it sits. So, and it's not clear from the application. It's vague from the application.
Commissioner Jameson?
I'll say the same thing I said at the time, and my recollection is that when the thing was put forth, it was put forth at the beginning of it, and it didn't meet any of the criteria. And so I'm going to be consistent when I say it didn't meet the number of employees, and it just didn't meet any of the point status. So I don't know how this application can be used for additional post type of improvement. I would think that it was after it did meet the deadlines. So I'm going to be consistent. I think from a time standard, and maybe we need to do something within the building department that when somebody starts to come in, that there's something there that we can do a timeline to assist the individual. But I think they would have to file a new application to try to do something, is my opinion on it.
Commissioner, anybody else? My memory is too that this there was no mention of expansion at the time that this application was submitted. It was submitted shortly, I think, after they actually started their business here. The problem I have is that for this business or any other business, actually, that may be considering to come in here, how do they know that they've got to make application prior to a certain time, whether that is prior to the time, I don't remember now, prior to the time of them purchasing the property, prior to the time that they come in and submit something to the city. I think it needs to be, first of all, clarified as to when that is supposed to occur. And if it is, in fact, prior to the time that they purchased the property, and I don't know if that is state requirement, law requirement or not, that I think is, if it's not, then I think it should be changed, because I don't think somebody coming in and purchasing a property, maybe they would normally know that we've got this tax abatement available for them.
Well, Madam Mayor, you're exactly right. And as the Economic Development Committee grows and expands, one of the things that committee should do when they're out trying to track business is, one of the things you should have at the forefront is, the city has passed this ordinance. A lot of cities have not. And this is an ordinance that gives you a tax abatement. If you're going to come to the city of High Springs, we're going to support you with this, this application procedure, and our city attorney's office is here to help you with the application, that sort of thing. And perhaps this whole process was so new, it didn't work. It didn't fit, unfortunately, in this situation, because I think collectively you all were trying to do what you could do to benefit this business, and it just did not work. So I think you're exactly right. It has to be a collective effort on the part of your Economic Development Committee when businesses are contacting City Hall. A city manager's office can say, hey, we have this sort of project, available to you, and that's where folks would know if they're going to purchase the property in advance. That's one component. Second is business expansion, and then it's got to meet all the requisites of the statute as well.
All right. What's your pleasure, Commissioner?
I guess just give us information on it. Would you want to try to motion for them to continue to look into it, or come back to give us more information? Unless you said at the beginning.
Well, I'm of the opinion that, based upon what I know, what I remember, and what is before us here, that the initial application doesn't meet the requirements under our ordinance. I don't have a problem with looking at to see if that application can be used for the expansion. I suspect it can't, but that it could be for it to be verified as to when that application came in for the expansion, and if they meet the requirements for the expansion. I think we have someone else that wants to come up forward and say something in the public.
Thomas DePeter. The statute, your ordinance is fairly clear. Section 70-84B says any business seeking an exemption shall file an application with the city before the business has made the decision to locate a new business in the city, or before the business has made the decision to expand an existing business in the city. Factually, this was not true for this application. The ordinance hadn't even been passed. They were under pressure to buy the property. They were in the works of opening. The purpose of this ordinance is to attract somebody that might not be coming here, that's going to open a significant business, 10 manufacturing jobs or more, or 25 non-manufacturing jobs or more that have good salaries. And the city attorney's, former city attorney's office, city manager, and former city planner were involved from the outset. And they told the business, you opened your business before the ordinance was even passed. You don't qualify on the face of it. The business was forced or told by sitting commissioners at the time to submit their application anyway, and we'll get you your tax abatement. That's just backwards. It shouldn't work that way. If this business really, one, they submitted late, they never met the qualification of 25 new jobs. If they ever submitted documentation indicating that they in fact have hired 25 full-time employees, perhaps it might be worth going back and looking into this thing and seeing if we could retroactively call their application belated for a new business should apply to an application for an expansion of the business. Problem is, how do you count the employees then? They already had 15 employees, and what they do, hire 10 or 15 more. But it's their obligation. The ordinance is there. If they want to hire a lawyer and file a proper application, then you can spend money investigating whether or not they're eligible for an abatement. It's not your job to give them an abatement. It's their job to come and ask for it and submit all the paperwork necessary. It's clearly stated in the ordinance what they have to do. So you should just let it lie.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Jameson?
Just a question. I mean, do we have to do something to say we're not doing anything, or do we just let it sit there? I mean, do we have to do anything at this point?
You don't have to do anything. This is, I think Tom's right. It is their obligation to move forward under the ordinance, and I think this commission wants to help. I think that's the idea behind it, but it's not your obligation to move this forward. It's their obligation to say, look, we do meet these requisites of the ordinance. We meet these requisites of the statute, and we filled it out improperly. Here's the data. We had 10 employees originally, and now, look, we've got 30 additional employees since the business expansion. Here's our expansion plans, and here's our information. The city, to my knowledge, does not have any of that information available to it. The file is very thin. It's just the application. That's the only information we've seen so far.
So could you just, I mean, would it take a motion? You can just basically say that this is an update. Do we just let it lay at that and basically say pending further information brought forth or further action on the applicant?
That's fine. That's the direction. And what I'm asking for is if you want us to do additional work, then we'll do it. But until that happens, it's Plantation Oaks ball game, and maybe they realize as well that there's so many problems with the application, and perhaps that's why they're not here to promote the issue. I don't know, but that's where it sits.
My opinion is I wouldn't do anything, and I would put the burden on the people. I mean, I wouldn't go to the added expense to have you do it. We may not need it. So I would suggest that this is an update. This is where we're at. Now we await to see what the applicant chooses to do in the future, if anything, and then deal with it when they submit something.
Commissioners?
I agree.
All right. Then if there's no action to be taken on this submitted by any of the commissioners, then we'll move forward. Thank you. Another comment? Please come forward. Just a minute, and I'll have you come forward afterwards.
Paul Regensburg. It's not really a comment on this particular application, but on what the chair said earlier. It's important that this concept, which is city support for new businesses, be properly published and advanced and noticed. I think it is. It's in the ordinances. As somebody who comes to the city can find it out. But I think it speaks to the need for the city rethinking its economic development. I mean, right now we've lost a city planner who was intimately familiar with this and helped these people as best they could. We got rid of that person, and it cost us a bunch of money to do it. There's money in the budget that you're about to approve whenever you get to it that could be better spent than duplicating a city expense that's already being spent in the county level. And that money could easily be spent for a city planner who could do multiple jobs, as the last city planner did, to help on exactly this sort of thing. And after he or she gets done with his job, then you go, sadly, to your city attorney and spend a little of his time to work through the legal aspects and get it done so that the city can move forward and not stand where it is. We cut off our nose to spite our face by getting rid of the only person who really knew how to make this system work, and to get it working, we need to replace that person or somebody like him or her, and we're going to have money to do it if the budget is properly set at that level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
just wanted to let you know for background, this commission passed Resolution 2012E in 2012 once the application was made, and that resolution directed the city to pass the application to the county for a report. And then in there it said after the county considers the application and gets back to the city, then the city commission can make a decision whether or not they want to move forward with an ordinance granting tax abatement.
Right, and that, when what came back from the county property appraiser was this document dated October 13th, basically saying that when the property was purchased and that the purchase and the business, all this occurred before the ordinance enactment. Right, so that was their response to that?
Right, so that would have been the next step.
Okay.
Had you gotten something back favorable from them, then you could have passed an ordinance granting the exemption, but nothing else from there that you need to do now.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Madam Mayor and Carter, was the Plantation Oaks notified that this was going to be on the meeting tonight?
I do not know.
You do not know?
I do not know, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anything else on this?
No.
All right. All right, we're now open for citizen requests and comments. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes and direct all comments to the mayor. Is there anyone here that would like to come forward?
Madam Mayor, members of the City Commission, I came tonight to express profound gratitude. One night this week I was watching the news, and the news revealed that there was a drug bust here in High Spring. I try to teach and encourage people to enrich their lives from every level. At this point, at our church, we got 11 young people in college today. These kind of activities in our community has a tendency to subvert that. All you need is one person to get involved with drugs illegally, and it can have a ripple effect. So I want to thank the City Commission, the Police Department, for the job that you've done. I hope you break up everyone in High Spring. We do not need it. Our families can be corrupt by drugs. And if we, as citizens, don't get involved, police officer can't do it all. We have to be the eyes and the ears sometime to try to assist them. And I want to go on record as a citizen of High Spring that I'm totally opposed to drug activity in this community. And if the police department continue to do their efforts, it's going to further enrich our community and get rid of some of the drug activity. Once again, thank you very kindly for your efforts that you've done.
Thank you. And thank you to the police department for their proactive approach to this. It was very good to see that on TV, hear about it. Anybody else? And I'm going to time you.
I don't appreciate it when the commissioners laugh at me. That's not. I'm here because this is a good night. This is a good night every year for the last 8 years that I've lived in this town. It's a good night because the city starts afresh. It's got new faces on the commission, and I'd like to think that we can go back and remember that the city's motto or whatever the heck it's called is you'll like our good nature. And darn it, I think it's time after some period in this city where the city hasn't really had as good a nature as I think it could have had, that I hope that tonight we can start with a good nature. And what does that good nature consist of? Well, part of it is what the mayor did, and that is thanking the two commissioners who served and who are not here. One got defeated, and I would have liked that person to have been here to graciously accept the winner, but that's okay. But I appreciate very much the other commissioner who stayed, and that person, along with Mr. Barnes, did something that I didn't do and a lot of other people in this room didn't do. And that is they ran for the job, and they spent their time, and they spent 3 years trying to do what they thought was best. We tended to disagree more often than not, but darn it, they were up there, and I wasn't, and neither were most of the other people in this room. Now we've got a new commission. It's a new day, and I urge all of us to work with you, the new commission, to remember that this city is based on a wonderful play on words. You'll like our good nature. We've got the good nature. We got the springs, we've got the weather, we've got the climate, we've got all kinds of wonderful things, but that's not the play on words. The good nature is our good nature, the human being's good nature. Let's like our good nature for this next year so that we can remember what the city is all about and make it grow and make it develop and make it better so that a year from now we'll have another one of these happy days when we greet a new commission and we ask them to remember that the motto of this city is, you'll like our good nature. Good luck, and I thank you for doing that which I have not put myself up to do, and that's to spend the time being a commissioner of this fair city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas DePeter. I want to congratulate the new commissioners for assuming office and winning your election. I want to commend you for having the courage to accept this position. It's not exactly an easy one, and not everybody agrees with everything that you do. I want to thank the mayor for his year of service, former mayor for his year of service, and he deserves the plaque that he got. I, too, want to thank the outgoing commissioners for the service that they did. It's 3 years of time that they took out of their lives and tried to do what they thought was best for the city. I, too, didn't necessarily agree with many of the things that they tried to do. I have a plaque because I was a mayor once. I also have a little plaque, I think, that says I was a commissioner. Unless it was an oversight, I think you should give commissioners' plaques to the former commissioners, designated the time and service that they had. They worked hard, and they deserve recognition for what they did trying to help the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing no one else, we'll move on to unfinished business. Item 1 is, where am I? Make sure. Yeah. Item 1 under new business is to consider an award for administrative services. Mr. Manager?
Yes, we'd like to hold this over to the next meeting. It was brought to our attention that we needed to advertise this in a regional newspaper rather than a local newspaper, and therefore we will do so and be ready for this item at the next meeting.
All right, so we have a motion to table this to the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Williams, seconded by Commissioner James. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying an aye. Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 5-0. So this item will be tabled until the next meeting, which is December 11th, I believe. Okay, so then we move to item 2, which is a renewal of contract for engineering with Midtower. Mr. Manager?
You bet. Their contract is coming to an end. We are in the middle of a number of grants to be awarded. We're also going to go after the Title I monies that were just approved by 75% of the voters, which is protection of the springs and also provides money to buy property to be protected. So I think it would be only prudent that we continue with this engineering firm for at least 1 or 2 years.
Madam Mayor, the only item that I would suggest be added to the November 3rd, 2014 proposal, which is basically that the existing contract rollover they're asking for a 3-year term. And of course, it's your decision to, if you want to do a year, 2 years, 3 years, it's up to you. This is a continuation of a contract that was awarded under the CCNA, so you competitively award this and you can renew it in this fashion. And as an aside, as I think your manager was saying, Mittauer and Associates has been very responsive to our office. There's a number of things that are in play, and they're, at least from our perspective, they respond to us when we have questions, and they're doing the job that the engineer should do. You should add a provision for authorization for them to retain public records as an agent of the city. They're under the public records law. There's some new laws that have been passed over the last year, so that should be added to at least their cover letter, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Attorney, I also understand, too, that when this was originally approved in 2011, we approved the services of 3 engineering companies, of which we've only used Mittauer. So I assume that if we were just to approve the contract with Mittauer, whatever contract we had with the other 2 would die.
Well, it depends. You rank them. That's what the CCNA process does. You take your 1, 2, and 3 positions, and if you can't get to contract with number 1, then you enter into contract with number 2 and then go to number 3. So I'm guessing you never entered into contract with number 2 and number 3. You simply entered into a contract with Mittauer.
No, I think we did enter, Ms. Parham. Oh, we did? Oh, I thought we had not. Okay.
So then you would need to extend those contracts if you so chose to extend number 2 and number 3. If you, otherwise they would die. That's right.
Okay.
The difference is that the other 2 really haven't used very much because they were hired for a specific task. That task is now gone. Mittauer is the experts in the water, sewer, and utilities, which we're really very much into. And they also do some engineering, which we'll avail ourselves. So truthfully, I look at one engineer, and that would be Mittauer, to do majority of the work. One engineer actually failed us a little bit and refused to do any more work. And we have used one, and that project is pretty much over, which is the Farmers Market Pavilion. And so we're really down to looking at one engineer to do especially the Title I work that we need that was just passed.
And I think if you get to a point where Mittauer can't do something, then you start the CCNA process again. That's basically what I think he's saying, is if we get to a block some way or for whatever reason, then we'll open it up and go through the process, which takes a little while, but it's not that difficult to do.
Okay. Commission, what's your pleasure? Mr. Jameson?
I would agree, and I think Mittauer's they've done a great job and been very receptive. I'd make a motion that we renew the contract, have the city attorney draw up a contract with the adjustments that you mentioned, and then bring it back.
How many years?
For us to review. They want 3. We said 1. So you compromise and give them 2.
Yep. Okay. All right. So there's a motion on the floor.
Yes.
Okay. Second. All right. So we have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Jameson, seconded by Commissioner Evans, to approve or to renew the contract for engineering service with Mittauer and Associates for a period of 2 years, and to adding some additional language on retention of public records. Any discussion from the public? All right, seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, the next one is to consider awarding a bid to SGS Contracting Services. Mr. Manager?
You bet. We went out some time ago and went out for bids for the cement pad and all the other accoutrements that go along with the watering box that the commission approved quite a while ago. And I thought the bid was a little on the high side, so we cut it up and we tried to get individual contractors to come in and do the work for us. But when we added up all the money, it was really more than the bid. And so we've decided that it is actually cheaper to have one individual come and do all of it. We also had a problem with electrical. None of the local electricians wanted to do the electrical on it. And so we are back. We have called and they will accept their old bid. And so that's why we're coming back to the commission to get it approved.
So if I understand what you're saying, the bid that was submitted, the $39,496, originally did not include the electrical, but they are now going to include that?
No, it did. What it is, I couldn't get anybody to do the electrical.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, when we got people wanting to do the cement, they want to do the pipes,
Right.
nobody wanted to do the electrical.
Okay.
So it really came to a problem where I couldn't get it done anyway, but by doing this one contractor to get it done.
Do we have the money?
We do.
This is budgeted, this amount, because I don't remember how much we had budgeted originally to do this.
Yeah, well, we did that, last year, but we'll
Right.
we'll
Okay.
roll that forward.
All right, commissioners, any questions?
I would just say a question. Could Mr. Booth
Mr.
just
Jameson?
real quick, I apologize. Could Mr. Booth just real quick explain to the other commissioners what this is so they know
Sure.
exactly?
Sure. At the present time, what happens is our fluid from our sewer plant, we take it and we put it into large trucks and we truck it all the way over to GRU and they put it into their sewer plant and their prices are going up and up. It's also not a very efficient way of doing it. What happens now is we have a box. We've looked at it. Hawthorne has the same kind of box. Stark has it. And so what it does is it takes that effluent, puts it through a number of filters, and it dries it out. So you have a dry mass rather than a liquid mass. And then we take all the water, of course, and put it out to our spray fields. And so we save quite a bit of money rather than having to truck it every 2 weeks. Now, once every 2 months, we just take it to a landfill.
Any questions on the explanation or anything else on this?
I'm okay with it. I had talked to Mr. Booth about it a little bit earlier because I was concerned, not quite understanding about contamination.
Yes.
But he said it was none involved, and that was my big concern. Yes. So after that, I'm okay.
Okay. All right, so, I'm sorry, did you have something to say, Commissioner? No, okay. All right, so we have, I'll entertain a motion to award this bid to SGS.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Evans, seconded by Vice Mayor Jameson, to approve the SGS contract, or the bid with, to award the bid to SGS Contracting Services for the dewatering box. Anybody from the public have any comments to say? No? All right, seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Jameson.
This one, Mr. Booth, is there a time deal? I mean, do we have a time frame that we would expect this to be up?
60 days. Oh, well, we'll get all the accoutrements and the concrete and all that
When
done.
will the thing be running?
I would take it probably about 90 days. Okay. The box is already available.
Right, item 4, Mr. Manager, signing checks.
Yes, we have to, by ordinance and that, have 2 people sign each check. We need the mayor, and we need also the vice mayor when the mayor is not available, and so this is an authorization to do so.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the mayor, vice mayor, city manager, and city clerk to sign checks and investment documents for the city of High Springs.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the following personnel to sign checks, investment documents in compliance with Section 2-97 of High Springs Code of Ordinance, mayor, vice mayor, city manager, and city clerk.
Second. All right, we have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Williams, seconded by Commissioner James. Any discussion? Any comment from the audience? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, next on item 5 is Resolution 2014-T. Mr. Attorney?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of High Springs changing the due date for water and wastewater service bills and amending in part Resolution 2011B, providing for conflict and severability and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass the resolution as read by title only.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. This actually was brought up at a previous commission where it was discussed about changing the due date for your water and wastewater bills from I think it was the 21st to the 15th of the month. The resolution before you explains that information, and as a commission, in order to implement that, we have got to pass a resolution to do that.
Also, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Mr.
And to make clear that it's also instead of what's it? If it falls on a holiday or a weekend,
correct,
it will allow you to pay it that next business day.
Correct.
Understand? So it used to be if you drop it in the mail that day of the bill, you had to drop it in the day of the due date. Am I correct? Okay. But now you have until that next business day to pay it at 6 o'clock.
The other question I had on it was that I wanted to make sure it was clear. When you read through this, it indicates that a late fee is $5, and that is it's $5 a month that gets added onto your bill. Is that correct? Per meter. Okay, per meter. And if you do not pay it by the 22nd of the month, which is what this is now indicating in the resolution, then your service will be disconnected and you'll be charged $25. And even though it's disconnected, you may, depending on if you're in the house or the building, you may still incur a monthly late fee, but at some point you cut it off.
When they cut them off, when they come to read them the next month, if they still haven't reconnected, we do a work order and send somebody out to make sure if the house has been abandoned, then we actually do a final bill. If somebody's still living there, they're the owners, we'll continue to get a late fee, yes.
Okay. Right. Yes, Commissioner Williams.
So what month would this take effect?
January bill will be due January 15th.
Okay. Enough time, I guess.
Any other questions?
And we will, it will be posted
on the front sign out front and on the website of the notice. And I've also already started telling the customers that potentially the bill will be due on the 15th. Ordinances.
We have a couple, at least one more bill that will go out before then.
Yes, and we will put a notice
on that. Okay. On that. All right. Any other questions?
What I was thinking, yeah, would it be on December's bill when it go out?
Yes, she just said that.
Yeah, that's.
And that's in the resolution. That's in the resolution too, that it will go on the December
Yes.
and the January.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion by the commission? Any comments by the audience? All right. I'll entertain, note with roll call, a motion first. Any motion, please?
Make a motion to pass resolution 2014-T.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor made by Vice Mayor Jameson, second by Commissioner Evans. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jameson?
Yes.
Mayor Weller?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0. Yes, Commissioner Jameson.
Jennifer, would it be possible to, like, on the glass window there, to, like, put a type, like, notice so when the people come up, they'll actually see it in case somebody forgets to say something? Is that?
Yes, absolutely. We'll make sure we put it wherever we can.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right, item 6 is Resolution 2014-Q. Mr. Attorney?
Madam Mayor, this is a resolution setting the monthly salary for the office of the city commissioner and mayor, providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass Resolution 2014-Q as read by title only.
Thank you. Just for the audience, there is no suggested change to the salary for the commissioners. It is budgeted at, our finance director, what is the annual amount for the commissioners and for the mayor?
It's $500 a month.
6,000, okay.
6,000,
All right.
and then the mayor gets additional.
500,
You are
I
very
think.
much on the low side within the county. I mean,
Right.
way low. And I'm going to be honest with you. You know, of course, I don't have an animal or in this fight, but it is to get good people. You know, you're asking them not only to give up their time, but you're also asking them to put in a lot of their money. I mean, the truth is, I know one of you on this board who probably gets paid $1 an hour for the work she does. I mean, I'm sorry, but that is the truth. And so I think we really need to look at it. I don't know if we can. I mean, you pretty well set this in stone, but I think we really need to take a look at it. And it has nothing to do with the budget, because we can certainly afford to be fairer. You know, we will never be fair, but I think we can be fair. And the amounts you have, I mean, you know, I know we can't equate ourselves to Gainesville or to Alachua County, but we can with Alachua. Even, you know, where they clearly, I mean, you know, and we're larger than the other two smaller communities, or three smaller communities here. I mean, that's my opinion. I think we need to really review it and come up with a fair amount.
Madam Mayor, this is set by resolution. You can change a resolution as you all so choose. So it's something that is something that can be amended without a lot of fanfare if you all direct city staff to look at other cities in the area and come up with a resolution that is consistent with the pay in other cities. The other thing that the city manager sort of touched on is that it's not just the time, it's also you do carry some responsibility and obligations, legal obligations, by sitting on the dais. We're going to have a new commissioner workshop. I would encourage all commissioners, not just the new commissioners, to come to the new commissioner workshop. But we'll be going over public records laws and the Sunshine Law, and we'll be going over things like your electronic records, Facebook and texting and all that kind of thing, and that's a very dynamic area of the law. So it's not just your time that you spend, but there's an additional requirement of your liability that's associated with your sitting on the dais, which is no small point either.
Mr. Jameson?
I think I said it when I first got on. I was somewhat surprised when they told me to what great extent we were compensated. Joking aside, I think if you want to get quality people, I think you have to make it somewhat worth their while. However, I would say that I would think that we would maybe want to table this one and allow the new commissioners to think about it. I don't know if I was ready to prepare it unless you guys are. I mean, here you are, and now you're going to do it. I would think put this to the next one, give you a chance to talk to people, think about it. I think it needs to be raised some. I'd like the city manager to come back with cities of comparable size. I think it needs to be raised some. I think you need to pay people, compensate them. But I would suggest that we put it off to the next meeting and allow people to at least digest this, give it some thought, and then come back. I think this is an awful lot to ask new individuals to vote on a pay increase when it's their first night on the job.
Commissioner Evans?
I would not vote for a pay increase my first night on the job. So if they vote for that tonight, I'm definitely going to vote against it.
So I would make a motion that we table this to the next meeting and then have the city manager bring back comparable city sizes, so we can at least look at it and see. Doesn't mean we have to do anything, but at least we would have something to compare with.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor made by Vice Mayor Jameson, second by Commissioner Evans to table Resolution 2014-Q until, I guess, the next meeting. I do have a question. Does that cause any problems with the payment to continue as we are operating right now? Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Any other comments by the commissioners? Any public comment? All right, seeing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Next item is to appoint or reappoint members to our various boards. The Planning Board, Code Enforcement Board, Tree Board, Housing Needs and Improvement Committee, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to table this one because we don't have any applications. What I did today, though, I mean, just advertising it doesn't do. But I'll be honest with you, in 1 hour before this meeting, I got 2 people that have agreed to go on board.
Okay.
And what I need to do is go knock on doors and say, it's very important.
Right.
And with the planning board, it's important to get people in the trades that know something about what's really going on. I know we have an attorney, but I think we need people in the trades that understand really what's going on and to do that. And we're also changing our comp plan. Well, we're not really changing our comp plan. We're really changing the tables with this comp plan because they don't make any sense. But and so if we could table this to the next meeting, I think I'm going to have a number of people that would be willing to go on these boards.
I had someone that mentioned tonight that they'd be willing to serve on the Code Enforcement Board. So, but I told them they'd have to make the application.
Okay, great.
Member, Ms. Parham.
Yes, on the Parks and Recreation Board, we did have 2 of the members that Joyce Holmes did not want to return. David Beckering said he would like to renew, and Susie Clark, who is now an alternate, said she would like to be considered for the full membership.
Can you repeat that? That's for the Parks and Recreation?
Yes, member Joyce Holman, she did not want to renew.
Okay.
David Beckering does wish to renew his. Susie Clark, who is now an alternate, wishes to move into the full member position.
All right, so we could approve those 2
Yes, and you would
seats.
actually have 2 vacant alternate positions available.
Okay. But we have no other any applications or indications of people who wanted to stay on the board or come on to one of the boards. Okay.
So we just make a motion to have David Beckering and Susie Clark appointed to the...
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Jameson to place alternate Susie Clark on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board and to renew David Beckering's position on the advisory board. Is there a second?
A second.
All right. Motion was made by Commissioner Jameson, second by Commissioner James. Any further discussion? Any comments from the audience? All right. If any of you in the audience, having heard the discussion, would be interested, let Ms. Parham know between now and the next meeting so we can get our boards filled. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 5-0 for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Thank you. Okay, item 8 is ordinance 2014-08.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we'd like to consider postponing that till the next meeting. The city attorneys, we did a great amount of work, but there appears to be numerous questions and some ambiguities within it. And therefore, we would like the opportunity for the attorneys to look at those ambiguities, mistakes in questions, and bring it back the next commission meeting.
Okay. The only thing I think that ought to be pointed out is while there are some changes in the personnel policy manual that would not be approved at this point because it is an ordinance and takes 2 readings, we do have 2 labor contracts that that we would still be required to implement because those contracts were in fact approved by this board.
That's correct.
So anything that personnel policy may have some things in it that repeat what the contracts say, but the contracts will take precedent at this point.
That is correct. And the major thing was agreed by the commission and the labor unions was PTO. We rather than having both vacation and sick leave, we simply put it together and called it PTO. We also reduced the amount of hours that you can accumulate. So those were those are already been implemented.
Okay, so what we're looking for then would be a motion to table this ordinance 2014-08.
Yes, and we'll hand the request over to the attorneys.
For review by the attorneys.
Make a motion to table ordinance 2014-08 till the next meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I'll put Williams down. All right, so we have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Evans, seconded by Commissioner Williams to table ordinance 2014-08. Hopefully we can get it back to us before on the next commission meeting, which is December 11th for ordinance. Is that, Ms. Parham, does that, we would have to re-advertise?
It has already been advertised for the second and final reading for December the 11th. What we had hoped would happen, that we would pass it on first reading tonight, make any amendments and changes to the personnel manual that needed it, keep the public hearing on December the 11th in order to enact the PTO time January 1st.
But that does not.
Record keeping. If we do it this way, there's no way to have it in place by January 1st
Unless what?
Unless we hold a separate meeting to have 2 readings prior to the end of the year.
Well, but you still have the contracts that allow you to implement it, the PTO.
Not for everybody.
Understand that. For the fire department, and it would not, you would not implement for the fire department, and you would not implement for directors, that type, but everybody else you would, police and the rest of the general employees. Okay. Mr. Commissioner Jameson?
Can you pass it on first reading and then make the changes and bring it back and do the second reading with the changes?
No, I would suggest we have first reading in December. If you want to have a second reading, you can, but I think what you can do is have your second reading in the first meeting in January and retroactively apply your PTO. I don't think you're going to have a problem doing that. So that's a safer procedure.
Okay.
All right.
It is really not going to cause a huge major problem because people really, it has to do with they're taking vacation and sick leave, and then when you pass it, we'll simply put it back together. But they're not going to lose anything. And so,
Okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Any comments from the audience? I haven't asked that already. All right, so all those in favor of tabling this item indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, number 9 is to consider the purchase of certain surplus equipment from the city of Waldo. Mr. Manager.
The money is already in the budget. It's not exactly the way we had it, but then we now have the opportunity, and there's a long list of things that we want to purchase from Waldo, and most of those are vehicles. One of the items in there that would come from the city side is that there is a smaller vehicle, a Focus, that we want to use here as a admin vehicle, both for the commission and for the staff and anybody going to school. Because the way it is now, we're paying mileage, and we will certainly, as you can see, the amounts we're trying to buy the vehicles for are $5,000, $7,000, not much. The police department itself, we budgeted $36,000, and we can take that $36,000 to buy 3 very good vehicles. So we're trying to buy their fleet out with what we already have in the budget. I'm trying to refocus the budget somewhat because we didn't budget it quite that way, but we now have this opportunity that we probably won't get again to go ahead and buy out another city's police department and vehicles.
So
Questions?
you're talking about how many vehicles you're speaking of?
We're speaking of 6 vehicles, I believe. 5 vehicles.
At least 5 cars.
5.
Plus the Focus, or that's?
Plus the Focus.
Plus the Focus, because there's 6 listed here.
Right.
Antoine,
Commissioner
question on this one. These, so what would have to be done to these? Painted?
Nothing.
So color-wise, they're within the scheme and so forth?
Correct. A few of them are unmarked vehicles. As you know, Waldo has black and white vehicles, so do we do. So it's very simple, $100, put our scheme on there. Very simple.
And then obviously they're decked out inside.
Cameras, everything's already done.
Right, okay. So it'd be as is, you could come in and take it?
All you need to do is tag them.
So you're getting 5 vehicles as opposed to 3, basically?
Correct.
For that $36,000?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Chief Antoine, the vehicles that are listed and then the mileage they have on them, are y'all still going to get good use out of them? I mean, is it going to be worthwhile to get them?
Correct. The vehicles are low miles on majority of those. Some of the oldest cars are maybe like a 2010, and those are like 40,000 miles on Crown Vics, but most of them have maybe 20, 30,000 miles on them.
There are a couple high mileage. We will only give just a few dollars for those. And those will be our admin vehicles. If we left Waldo on the vehicles, we could put fear into the... I'm sorry.
I don't want Triple A talking about us.
Okay. All right. We will change Waldo outside.
All right. All right. Any other questions?
Mr. Booth did say this is already covered by budget, right?
This is covered by budget. I'm just we're saving money on gas too,
Redistributing it.
It's well within the budget.
Okay.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I make a motion that allow the city manager to purchase certain surplus equipment from the city of Waldo.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Williams, seconded by Commissioner James. Any comment from the public? All right, seeing, yes, please come forward.
Billy Dowdy, 230 Northeast 7th Avenue, High Springs. I get your humor, but it grieves my soul that a sister city has lost their police department and now no longer have the safety that we are blessed with by having our police department and our dispatch. I just want to ask one quick question. I heard you say that purchasing these cars are well within our budget. Therefore, we have adequate funds budgeted, and therefore we are not short any funds that would hinder us maintaining our police and our dispatch here in High Springs.
All I know is that the amount of money that was budgeted, which is $36,000, and I believe if you add up what's on this list, that's within the $36,000.
Well,
I didn't add
it
it
goes
up.
over a little bit, but one of the vehicles wanted to go to the fire department. They're going to take it out of
Their budget.
fuel, and we want to bring the focus here to the city, and we'll take it out of ours.
All right, so the $36,000 will cover the cars that the police department will be receiving.
But that will not take all of the funds for the police department budget, correct?
No.
In other words, there's adequate funds to maintain our police department and our dispatch.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other comments? All right, we have a motion on the floor. All those indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay, number 10 is to consider appointing a representative to the North Florida Regional Water Supply Partnership Stakeholder Advisory Committee.
Yes, a long name, but you gotta be very careful. What is going to occur here in economic development is water is going to become a very vital issue. And this committee is going to play a part. And we really have to participate in this so we understand what they are. There are some places in the United States, such as California, North Carolina, many other states, that prohibit economic development because of water. We are also blessed with a river and that, but we've got to be careful about what they do. And the best way of doing that is to appoint somebody from the commission. I would be glad to be the alternate when they can't make it to go to these meetings. Don't anticipate they'll go more than one per month. But they are just now starting to establish themselves. But if you're really into the information, they are going to be pretty powerful.
This is basically a stakeholders committee
that
to
is-
watch over what,
Well,
from what I
the-
understand, what the Swanee River Management District and the St. Johns River
Yeah.
Water Management District are going to be doing in developing the water supply plan
Exactly. And
for
they,
North Florida.
And they will input to the state, so they're,
Right. Okay, so do we have any commissioners here that would
So,
like to be on that?
when is, they take place in Tallahassee or up in Live or whatever?
Probably at Swanee River Management
yeah,
District. I
Oh,
would
that's
think.
probably
in Live Oak,
there,
isn't it?
yeah, down there, they're gonna have a meeting. They haven't established it, they just want our representative at this time, then we'll get the brochures on, when the meeting is, and I would be glad to be the alternate.
Would you like to be on it?
Sure, I'll take
All
it
right.
on.
So I'll entertain a motion to place Commissioner Williams on this as a representative of the city to the SAC, for short, committee.
I'll make such a motion that Reverend Williams be the representative for the Regional Water Supply Partnership.
And can we also make an alternate of the city manager?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner James, seconded by Commissioner Evans, to appoint Commissioner Williams with the city manager serving as an alternate to the North Florida Regional Water Supply Partnership Stakeholder Advisory Committee. Any further discussion? Any comments from the public? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 5-0. All right, next on the agenda is to set dates for dispatch and alcohol workshop.
Yes, ma'am, the council many months ago directed that we have a workshop on both dispatch and alcohol. The alcohol really is, at the current time, the businesses are allowed to serve beer and wine during Sunday. And I guess the idea is to have a workshop to determine whether they should have the full spectrum of drinks during Sunday. And so that's what the alcohol is about. I have made arrangements, and when you set the date, I will have all the participants in the dispatch here to answer questions. We'll go over the good, the bad, the ugly, the whole spectrum of it. And
So,
we're looking for dates.
Commissioners, do you have any ideas when you want to do this? I think you have the calendar was provided for you in front. We've got the holidays coming up, so I would suggest we wait until after the holidays.
Well,
We normally would do this on a Tuesday, I think. We normally have, if we're going to have a workshop, we generally try to do it on Tuesday, but we could do it on an alternate Thursday if it works better for you. Depends. Would you like to hold it in January?
That's what I'm thinking, maybe in January, after the holiday.
Is that okay with everyone? We'll have two separate workshops in January. Would we like to have Ms. Parham contacted? We could look at what we have the dates in January of the 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th. We could have Ms. Parham contact you to find out which one of those dates would work best for everyone, unless you all know for sure now.
I suggest the 13th and the 27th.
Just, excuse me, the
Yes.
new chief will be seated here late in February. You may want to include him. Sessions.
No.
No?
Okay.
No.
Just soon
No,
go ahead and get
we've
over
already
it.
talked. He would rather have he won't start till the 1st of February, but would rather, because he is so new, would not like to jump right into this issue. And I agree. I think this is.
I can tell you I'm okay with the 13th, but not the 27th. I have an Alachua League of Cities meeting on the 27th. But the 13th for one of these is okay for one of these. But, I'm okay for the 6th, 13th, or 20th, but not the 27th.
Do we need to make this a motion, or do we just say? Hey,
We just need to set the dates. Tell them where we want the dates.
I would feel good 13th, and let's just go ahead and get the alcohol out of the way, since that's probably going to be the biggest hair pulling.
Okay.
13th?
You mean do both of them on the 13th?
No,
No,
alcohol.
I was gonna say.
No.
On the 13th.
Okay, that's fine.
Alcohol on the 13th. Is there any reason we can't do the other one on one of those other Tuesdays? I'm sorry, 6:30, yes, 6:30 on the 13th.
20th would be
Let's
fine.
get it out of the way.
20th?
Can we do it on the 20th?
I know the 6th is not good for me.
Right. Is the 20th okay for everybody?
Okay, 20th.
So the 20th? Okay. So we're going to do the 20th for the dispatch.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. That, I think, takes us to number 12, which is to review and approve payment to the city attorney.
Right, this was last year's end of the year. They're over budget, therefore I need an approval.
If this is from the last year, does it get pulled out of last year? I mean, we're in the new fiscal year now, so wouldn't it get paid out of this year? Because that last year is closed, right?
Yeah, we just closed that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So this would have to come out of this year's then.
Okay.
Okay. I guess there's two questions. One is you want the consensus from the commission to go ahead and pay this, and going along with this, it seems to me that when we, on a monthly basis, we receive a budget report where we are on each line item, and if we could maybe consider when those come before or given to us, that they actually be put on the agenda and we just approve each month as we go along, so that we know that if there's something over budget, then we can identify it and we can say it's been approved. I mean, I understand that a lot of time a line item is going to be over budget in a certain line item, but they won't be over budget overall in their total budget. And the other question I have is that I'm not sure under our purchasing policy where it says it's over $5,000, it has to come before the commission, and obviously this is $6,223. But you could have, these are different cases, and each case is $1,800, $1,600 or whatever. It's just that each case, when you take the 4 cases that are listed here and add them up, then they go over $5,000.
Right.
So I don't know, as far as our purchasing policy, what that contemplates, how that is supposed to be done, really.
Well, my concern, I guess, and not being able to get a second signature, was that it was last year, and that's where we started, but time it really got to you, we're now into this year, so it's probably no problem signing that. Well,
it's budgeted, so it would not really have to come I mean, I guess
That
under
is
the,
correct.
it wouldn't really
Yeah,
have to
well-
come
well,
before us
now,
because
yeah.
it's under this year.
That is correct.
Mr. Jameson?
No, I think from your questioning, is what I'm gathering, is that this bill was $1,800, it's not over the 5. This one's for 2,000, it's not over. I mean, if you put an invoice in for those two, it's not over the 5 if you hold them. I think it's almost just a timing of the bill, and how does that play into our policy?
Right.
Type of deal, because each one of them is separate and each one of them wasn't over 5,000. So I think as we go forward, I think you would look at each individual bill, but aren't those being run through you a little bit more as far as the things that are going on? So will you have a better idea, Mr. Manager, as far as upcoming bills?
Yes.
And I think the city attorney and you all are going to be
Right.
more,
We are.
so we don't have any sticker shock.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so then, what I'm hearing then is that there really is no requirement to pass a motion to pay this because it's within the budget of this year.
It is.
Right.
Yeah, when we started out, it was last year, but
Right,
it's gotten
but
into this year. So
I guess-
I'll go ahead and sign that and no problem.
Okay, and the commission okay with that? Okay. If you're, maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah, if
the
it's
new
over
commissioners,
5,000.
If you haven't, if they don't have it, they should be given a copy of the purchasing policy so they understand what we're talking about. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Attorney, do you have a report for us?
As Scott mentioned earlier, we're going to have a new commissioner orientation on December 4th here at City Hall. We would encourage all of you to come, but certainly our two new commissioners. Your city clerk and the city attorney's office is working on a public records policy that will come before you in December, and then we will work with the city clerk's office to schedule training for all employees in January that the city commission would be welcome to attend as well. In our litigation with Capital City Bank, we filed a motion to dismiss recently. We sent that out to the commission, and I'll make sure that the two new commissioners get a copy of that. And it looks like we will have a hearing on that motion to dismiss at the end of December. We also today received interrogatories, which are basically, it's a discovery tool where Capital City Bank has sent certain questions that the city will have to answer within 30 days. So I will be making an appointment with Jenny and Angela coming up soon to come through and figure out those questions, answers to those questions.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
No?
Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Manager?
You have in front of you a letter that I'm prepared to send out to 250, 300 residents. Has to do with solid waste. You don't have it in front of you? Yeah, if you could. I'm sorry, you were supposed to get it.
Okay.
Somehow we didn't. I will get back to that.
Didn't we look at that letter before? Is this, oh, this is, I know which
This
one
is
this is.
solid waste before you had sewer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, okay. We'll get that letter and take you, okay. You have an email in front of you that from the CSX contractor, which states that on the 15th of next month, that they will start the work on tearing up the tracks. I'm going to take George, and George is going to have that job to oversee them, because if we don't, they'll make a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll tell you that they'll clean up, and then they'll leave, and you're stuck. So we're gonna know right off the bat somebody's gonna be watching them, and we're gonna stop them if they don't do what they're supposed to do. He also will be given the job to go around and identify all the property the city owns, because it appears that the city owns a lot of property that's overgrown and in disrepair. And that was brought to my attention several months ago, and again by a neighbor. And we're starting to clean that up, but I need George to identify what they are, where they're at.
Mr. Manager, some years ago, I received, and I believe I still have it, and I'll look, a map of the city that shows where our city property is.
Right, we have that.
You have that? Okay, all right.
What I need George to do is put a stake where they're at so
Okay.
that our employees will know
Mhm.
where to go and start cleaning up. They'll do that on Fridays. Then I can go to the owners of the other property and start enforcing. Pretty hard to enforce in an area when we ourselves are not in compliance. And so I'm also asking down the line, I'll put a resolution in for about $15,000 to do some of the cleanup. But I'm not asking for that now. I'll do that down the line as we do the cleanup, and that we can see what the cost is actually going to be. And that's going to be one of our big projects, because we're about to put the water lines in. We're going to put in new fire hydrants, and we're also going to put in new meters. And while we're doing that, we're going to take that area and help clean it up a little bit. There are some trailers that are in disrepair. There's a fair amount of houses, and there's some of the property we own that is also in disrepair. So that will be one of our big projects as we do it. And I'd like to go back to item number 1, which is the letter to the residents that do not take solid waste in our city. Our ordinance clearly requires it. The state law requires it. I was told that in the past they were exempted. I didn't even ask who, because there is no provision for exemption. There is only an ordinance. The council certainly can exempt. You have to change your ordinance, though, to do that.
And how many people do you think?
250 to 300. I had originally thought that there were 4, but there really is only 250 to 300 as we went through that big process to find out.
And these
These people don't take water or sewer. So there
Right.
are that many people that don't take water or sewer and garbage.
So they're maybe on the routes or within the city, and they're not currently paying for solid waste pickup. But there may be some that are getting it as well and aren't
Possibly.
paying.
What will
Okay.
happen is that the garbage collection, solid waste collection company will put out the barrels within a few days, and then they'll start collecting.
Okay.
If you don't, by the letter, if you don't sign up, we'll put it on your tax bill in September. That's only for the people who don't sign up.
I was gonna say, even at a conservative rate, if you do the 250 and at 20, that's $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 revenue a year that you're losing.
Well, yeah, but I'm looking more safety, because
I understand.
I know these people say, okay, we drive our garbage to the landfill. Well, maybe they do and maybe they don't. What do they do with their white goods?
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody dumps their white goods all over the place.
Right.
You know, and for $5, it's not even $5 a week. That's less than 2 coffees at Dunkin' Donuts. You get to get all your waste picked up. I mean, your white goods, all your yard waste, all your garbage. I mean, what a bargain, to be honest with you.
You said that they have to sign up for it.
No, what we're saying is, if you do sign up for it and you pay it,
Well,
then we won't put it on your tax roll.
okay, I understand that, but they still have to sign up for it. You said if they do sign up for it, we won't put it on the tax roll. They have to come in and sign something
No.
to get it started? Or, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And what if they don't?
We can still bill them, but that's what they do now. They have to come in and make a $50 deposit
Mhm.
to have a garbage account, garbage only.
Okay, but what we're saying is, if they don't, we're going to put it on their tax roll.
Well, I know, but my concern is, it doesn't say here that they've got to come in and sign up.
Okay, we put that in.
Yeah.
that they have to come in and sign up.
They must come in and sign
But there
up.
are a lot of them that won't.
Oh, I know.
I mean, they're already required to do that,
I understand that, but
and they don't. We're
Right.
just saying, for safety, regardless of the $60,000,
right.
it's
It's basically,
the
they've
safety
got to
that
come in and
it
sign
helps.
up, and if they don't, we're gonna put it on the account that they owe us money and
Yes.
whatever. Okay. Okay.
So that'll,
You're gonna add that, what Mayor Weller just said on there.
we are.
Mhm.
As far as
We're
coming
going to
in
change that letter a
to
little
sign
bit,
up.
and then
Okay.
when we send it out.
Okay.
Okay. We have received a letter from Rural Development Agency that says that we can go out for bids for the Farmers Market Pavilion.
Thank
Hey,
you.
that's been a 5-year.
About time.
Let me tell you. I need, well, actually, probably February now, because January seems to be pretty full. But sometime in February, I'll need to put in an economic development forum. Both Mayor Weller and I went to a meeting a few Thursdays ago. And in that, it became apparent that we need some time of a brochure or a briefing packet that shows all the properties that we have available, how much those properties are, what advantage those properties have with regard to how far away is the sewer or the water, what the city is willing to give. And as we talked about tax abatement, that is one of the things that we can offer. And truly, tax abatement is for a company we're trying to get in
Right.
that might provide 100 jobs. They're looking at us and they're saying, we can say, listen, we can get a grant from Rural Development Agency and bring a sewer line to you, and we can give you some tax abatement. But you have to promise to provide 100 jobs or so. So that's really what it's for. The advantage, I went to a meeting, we alternated meetings, so we didn't go to the same ones. And there was the closers. And the closers are the individuals that actually buy the land for the corporations that want to establish there. Because they do it very, very quietly. They don't want everybody to know that GM is putting in a plant and then all of a sudden the property values go to $200,000 an acre. So what they said is that if I put together a pamphlet, that they would accept it once. And that would forego the state and the county, and they would look at it and they would keep it in mind, basically. So I could do it once.
Yeah, they don't
Not
like a lot.
email them every week.
Right.
Now I got to do it once. And so that's really what I want to do, is to put together a pamphlet that says, here's High Springs, here's our advantages, this is the land that is available that's shovel ready. But to do that, I need the commission and I need the landowners to come together and discuss it. We have a industrial park. They need to come in there and tell us, how much the building is cost and per foot and all that rest of the stuff.
Right.
We'll put it together. We'll bring in the CRA, and they can promote the downtown, and we'll have a nice brochure that we can hand out. And so sometime in February, we'll establish a meeting and then have all the stakeholders come. And we are certainly getting there. I can tell you that in a meeting that the mayor and I went to in Santa Fe, they didn't even consider us part of the Santa Fe area. I'm sorry, but High Springs has been out in the cold for a long time. We've wanted it that way. But the disadvantage is our kids in this area don't have jobs. They have to go somewhere else. And so we need to bring some working companies here so we could provide the work and the jobs for us. We need to push ourselves onto Santa Fe and all the rest of the organizations saying, we really are larger than most of those other small communities you're trying to cater to. Anyway, so we'll do that. And we had a good meal too. Thanksgiving meal, anyway. I want to give a tour. Could be to the new commissioners and any to the old commissioners, has to be one at a time. Don't want to put two together and then everybody talks. To what our area, all the good, bad, the ugly, and just drive you around, show you what we own, don't own, what we want to build, and what we want to do in the future. So anytime, just give me a call and I'll be available. DOT is trying to put in some turn lanes. You'll see all the surveyors, they really want to put in a 4-lane. The traffic warrants a 4-lane down First Street, all the way out to 441. They can't figure it out either. So the best I think they're going to be able to do is put in some turn lanes. You know, they're trying hard. We're just kind of squished. But God bless them. I mean, I've seen trucks can't even make the turn from Main Street onto First. You know, so and it's their highway, so it's their problem. So we got a lot of stuff going on. It's going to be a great year. We'll continue and push. Grants are, grants looks like we have more opportunity with water grants and sewer grants, and we will certainly be out there knocking on the door. My position is that this city has spent $13 million trying to put in a sewer system when nobody else put in their own money. So we've spent ours. We would like help from the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams, do you have anything you want to bring
Yes,
up?
ma'am. Mr. Booth, so once they pull the tracks up, are they going to keep their land maintained? Better than what they're doing now?
No. We will take that on.
Okay. So they need
That's the only, that's all I know. They abandon it.
Yeah.
It becomes our responsibility.
So do we take possession of it?
No, actually,
We just keep it
I can tell you that there's a national organization that has petitioned the Surface Transportation Board to what they call rail bank that property. Once they have until I think January 15th to negotiate with CSX to do that. I also heard though that they've asked for an extension, so I don't know how long that's going to take. But if they can reach an agreement with CSX to rail bank that property, which is the rail line through High Springs and from High Springs to Newberry, then that then allows for you to create what they call a rail trail along there. But then you got to find the money to have that done. So that's what we would be working on, trying to get done once that property gets rail banked.
Okay, good, because this sure will be off for some time.
Yeah.
Put my glasses on here. First of all, I want to welcome Commissioner James and Evans to the commission. I just want to say thank you and for taking this challenge on. It's not all bad. Don't let nobody tell you that. There's some rewarding points in it to serving to help your community. But I give you a piece of advice from the wise. Any training that you can get it to learn what you're doing. As one of the young men used to say in my church, don't wing it. Get as much training as you can. Get the conference and go. Don't use conference for vacation. Get it for a time of training and learning and trying to network with others. You'll be amazed when you talk to other commissioners from different cities, some of the same stuff you might be going through. They may have been through it. And I always like to say, ain't no sense in trying to reinvent the wheel when someone else done did it. So try to get that network with other commissioners in other cities. Again, I say welcome and congratulations to Mayor Weller and Vice Mayor Jameson. I think the tree lighting event is this Friday?
Yes, tomorrow.
Tomorrow night. 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay, and I think the Christmas parade is? It's on the 13th. Time?
And for the new commissioners, that we all end up being part of the parade. Except for one of us who is Citizen of the Year, Grand Master, that will be leading the parade.
So we're gonna take and split it in half. Put it in one.
Yeah.
Do the new thing they call it, where you can protect the person on the.
Oh,
hologram.
Yeah. And also, I just want to say, I pray that all have a happy Thanksgiving and spend some time with your loved ones and be thankful for what God has done for us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. James? You have anything?
Not really.
No? Okay. Mr. Evans?
I'd like to thank Commissioner Williams for his advice. I have networked a little bit. I went down to the League of Cities this year, met some people down there. And the good part about that, it's not under sunshine because it's a different city.
That's right.
All right. But really the only thing I was going to bring up, I know the fire department is having a fundraiser. I believe his name's Ron up at Jerry's Salon is going to do some portraits for them as a fundraiser to help the fire department out. It's kind of a Christmas time thing. And then also the police department is starting off on Operation Holiday Cheer. It's a toy drive for local youths. Both of those can be found on their Facebook pages if you have any questions. Just encourage people to get out and help the community. That's all, man.
Okay. Mr. Jameson?
I was pleased to see the crowd, see how many people were here tonight, and even those that hung around to the very end. So we want to thank you for that. And, we look forward to the year and just hope you all keep coming. Appreciate all your support. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a few things. Mr. Manager, I was over at the Civic Center the other day for a chamber meeting, and it was pointed out to me that the storage room to the left of the stage is full of the old chairs.
They are.
Can we get those moved out of there or something? I don't know what you can do with them.
We're going to salvage those out because they're not really usable.
Right.
We put in new chairs.
Yeah, because you have new
I
chairs.
I told them I was going to come down there and identify them to salvage them. I'll do that.
Okay, because they can't, it's hard for them to get into that storage
I
room
know.
with all those
Yeah,
chairs
you're right.
piled up. I want to compliment you and our public works people on the downtown lights. They're all lit up. The poles are all lit. It looks really, really nice when I came in this evening, and even the lights down this road are working finally. Yeah.
We've been working hard. We're having a problem with the rope lights, but we're going to buy more. They don't last really long, and we've been trying to squeeze out the life of them too long, so we'll purchase it.
Yeah, but right now it looks really nice right now, I must say. There is on November 22nd there is a toy soldier run, which is this Saturday at Jenny Springs from noon to 7 p.m. You can come in by, I think you pay $10 with a new unwrapped toy or $20 per person with no toy. This is where I'm not sure, whoever runs this, I can't see that on this right now, the Christian Motorcycle Association, these toys will be donated to area children by the Christian Motorcycle Association. So again, that's from noon to 7 p.m. out there at Jenny Springs. Don't forget, I think we already mentioned it, December 13th, make sure you put on your calendar for the parade. We have a city commission meeting on December 11th. That will be, at this point, the last one for the year. And I am going to one of the things I'm going to ask, and so the commission may want to get copies of this before it gets on the agenda. I'm going to put on the agenda a review of the city manager's contract. It will be due soon. I think it's due beginning of January, so we need to start looking at that on his contract. I'm going to be putting that on the agenda for discussion in the December 11th meeting. And with that, I don't have anything else other than thank you all for coming forward. Excuse me, somebody wants to say something? Come up.
I'm Sandra Webb. But anyway, the December social, the chamber invite everybody to come.
And when is that?
December the 9th at
December
Great
9th.
Outdoors.
December 9th. All right. At what time?
And it's from 5:30 until.
5:30 until 10?
And how happy everybody wants to get.
Is that out on the patio?
Uh-huh.
Okay. At Great Outdoors. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'll wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving. Spend time with one more? Oh, okay. Come on up.
Aunt Andrews, you mentioned about the chairs, but you didn't also tell them about all that other debris stuff that's in that room.
No, I just focused
all
on
that
the chairs,
trash
but-
and all that
okay.
Yeah,
stuff.
we'll do it all
Just
at
clean
once.
that out, because when we having election and stuff, there's
Right.
nowhere. And
We'll get it out.
I mean, we use that office too, but that's another messy place too and all.
Yeah, I know.
And they like to leave that kitchen in a mess also. And I think you got my message about how they came in, the seniors came in the day that we were having a home mission meeting. And they came in and said they was doing their time sheet, but they came in like about 30 minutes before while we were trying to set up for our
Okay.
dinner. They came in and just was in there early before we could even get set up and everything.
Okay,
So
all right.
I don't know why they do that, but
Okay.
I don't know if you all could do anything with them about that.
All
And
right.
other people are renting the place.
Okay, thank you. All right, all right. Everyone have a very happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you December 11th. Hopefully you'll come back. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Meeting adjourned at 8:45. Thank you.
Or 9.
That's because nothing's.
I'm cleaning house.
That and taking off.